Hi there, it's Neil here again from Half Empty Brewing, bringing you Homebrew Wednesday number 7. A few things to discuss and a couple of little clips of video to show you. First thing, I've brewed another beer this week. I did a FestivALE, so hopefully this will be ready in time for Christmas. Pretty standard stuff. I'll run down some ingredients. Pale malt, biscuit, Cara Munich, torrefied wheat, bit of crystal, and the hops that I put in, some Challenger, some Willamette and some Styrian Golden. But to give it that Christmas twist, I've put a bit of cinnamon, nutmeg and some star anise in it. So I'm hoping it might just be ready, or it should be fairly good at Christmas time, so I'm not intending to really try this much before then. So that's in the fermentinator at the moment. The other thing to talk about is I didn't do much brewing footage while I was doing the brew, but I have got a bit of video to talk about my Wort Chiller system that I use. I'll cut to the video and I'll be there to explain. Okay? Hi there, so I'm going to talk to you about my Wort Chiller setup. You won't see my face from here on in, just my arms, but here we go. So, if you haven't seen a Wort Chiller, this is one. I got this with a job lot of other stuff from eBay a couple of years ago. Basically the idea is that when it's time to, after you boil, you chill your wort down as quick as you can, ready to get the right temperature to pitch your yeast. So you put this in your boil kettle about 15 minutes before the end of the boil, and that will help sanitize it, because obviously when you start cooling it down, you could then be introducing germs and bacteria, what have you. So simple process is you put that in your wort, and then the other end goes to your water source. You switch on the water. That goes through the coils, transfers the heat into the coils, into the water, and then out the other end. You can capture that. What I do, you can either put it down the sink or you can capture that into a bucket, which what I do to help clean my equipment after the brew day. Now this was fine. I mean, I've been brewing for just over 12 months now. This was fine sort of through the winter months. But as the spring and summer progressed, obviously the groundwater temperature was obviously increasing, and it becoming increasingly more difficult and slower to chill down my beer. So I come up with this idea of a pre-wort chiller. You can obviously see that from my hand it's not that great a size. So what I did, I made myself another Wort Chiller. As you can see, there's a bit more surface area on this one than my first one. These are very simple to make. Just get yourself the length of micro-bore copper. I think it's about 10 meters, this one. You'll see loads of tutorials on eBay, on YouTube if you want some instruction. But simple ideas. You get either a demijohn or a empty can of paint, and you bend the coil around the can, and then the tricky bit, I guess, is getting the input and output, if you like, section here. You might get a few kinks, but it doesn't have to be pretty, it's just got to do the job. So that was that. So I've come up with this idea of a pre-wort chiller. So what I do is I get a small bucket like this, and I put my old Wort Chiller in that and connect it to the water supply. And then I connect, you can see that, the old Wort Chiller to the new one with a simple hose connection. So this one here goes in my beer, or the wort, sorry, at 15 minutes before the end of the boil. And then in this bucket I fill it with ice cold water. I can use ice packs or fill it with ice right to the brim. And then when I turn on the water, the first part is the pre-wort chiller will cool down to a colder temperature, and as it comes out the other end it will follow this line into my new chiller, which is sitting in the beer, in the wort. I keep saying beer, it's not beer yet until it's got yeast in it. So that goes into the wort and it will start chilling down. So the theory is that once the chilling water gets to here, it's colder than what it was before it got to here. And then obviously I've got a long length here of hose which spits out the spent water, or the warm water that comes out. Fairly simple idea, and it's worked really well. So it got me through the summer. I managed to keep my chilling temperatures down to, I don't know, about 35 minutes or something like that, so it's pretty good. I'm going to continue using this idea for the time being, although at the moment here it's now October, we're starting to get a bit cold weather, so it might not be such an issue, but I'll continue to use this method. What I might do, I might sort of adopt an idea where I can actually put both of these into my wort to cool both at the same time. I'll obviously have to get some sort of splitter to connect both to the water supply, but the theory is there'll be more surface area to cool down the wort a lot quicker. But if I decide to do that, I'll give you an update later. So yeah, it'd be interesting to know what chilling options you do for your setup. Do you have something similar, or do you use plate chillers? Would you just stick with the old traditional idea like that? Okay, that's it for now. I'll hand you back to me. Okay, so as I explained, I'm doing a brew today, so I can show you my Wort Chiller in action. Here's the FestivALE that I talked about, and then here is obviously the water connection is made as I explained. It's going through the copper coil here, which is in the ice water, and then coming out of here up into the Wort Chiller that's in the wort, and then coming out of there I'm catching the resultant warm water into a bucket which I can use for cleaning my kit afterwards. So what I did, before I put the ice and the ice packs in here, the temperature of the water was about 18 degrees. I then obviously put the ice and the ice packs in, which brought the temperature of this water down to about 7 degrees. So it's a considerable amount, more colder than before. Consequently, it's going to chill down my water a lot quicker. I've been doing this for about just under, or about 12 or 13 minutes at the moment. I'll do a quick temperature check. I'm not going to be able to focus in on there, I don't think. But that's reading 50 degrees already. So in the space of just under 15 minutes, I've managed to chill my water down to half. So that's not bad going. Okay, so that was my Wort Chiller, and you saw a little glimpse of the beer that I brewed the other day, which is now in the fermentinator, as I said. I'll just give you a quick peek, but not a lot to see. So if you saw my previous video, this was a chilling conditioning fridge for my lagers, but they've now gone elsewhere. It's cold enough now, actually. I've put them up in the attic, so they should be okay to for them to condition. So there's my Christmas beer. The fermentinator is mainly functioning as a heating chamber. I'm fermenting this at 22 degrees, so you can see from my STC 1000 I'm at 22.4. So the chilling side, the fridge side, is hardly functioning. There's my heating element down at the bottom. So it's been quite a successful project, this fermentinator. So through the summer I managed to keep my beers and my fermenting temperatures cool enough, and the same from a hotter temperature point of view. Everything's going fine. I'll do a more detailed Homebrew Wednesday on this fermentinator soon when I get around to it. So that's my FestivALE. Another thing I wanted to briefly show you, it's not homebrew, but it is beer. I went to St Ives for my holiday in the summer. Whenever I go somewhere on holiday, I always like to look out and see what extra beers and different beers you can get in a local area other than what you can get where you live. Some of you that live down in the southeast, Cornwall and Devon, will probably come across a lot of these beers anyway, but some of them were new to me. I'll just briefly hand over to me again, and you can have a look at some of the beers that I tasted. Okay, so here's the beers that I was telling you about. Starting off with this one here, Penryn Pale Ale. It's probably one of my favourites that I tried. Very nice and hoppy, not too strong, only 4.3% that one. You probably heard of Bath Ales. Bath Ales Gem is very nice, and this Barnsley, bit of a darker bitter. I must admit Bath Ales aren't probably my favourite, but they're certainly drinkable anyway. On to this Box Steam Brewery in Wiltshire, I believe. The dark vanilla porter there you see with the grey label, grey silver label, was very nice. Distinctive sort of vanilla flavour there, and also a bit chocolatey as well. Moving round, we've got here the Wooden Hand Brewery, based in Truro. I particularly like the Black Pearl, which is a dark, sort of, not quite a porter, but very nice beer indeed. Moving on, another one from Truro that I'm sure everybody's heard of is the Skinner's Brewery. I've actually visited the Skinner's Brewery. It's a really good trip if you ever get the chance to do it. One of the things, when you go into, they've got kind of like a bar area where you can go and serve your own pints. I think my favourite of those ones would probably be the Helligan's Honey, this one here. Very nice and golden beer, nice summer drink to have. But moving around, there's one there called Port Leven, which was a special edition brew that they did. Very nice, quite a hoppy, very citrusy beer as well. As was this Driftwood Spars Brewery. I think it's a microbrewery or something, run by people who also own and run a hotel or guest house or something. That's in St Agnes in Cornwall. That was very nice, very nutty, sort of brown ale. Very nice that was. And then on to Buckham Brewery from Bristol, I believe. Probably heard of them. And then finishing off with a couple from St Austell. I wasn't too keen on the lager, I must admit. But the HSD at the end, a strong Cornish ale, again, very nice. Yeah, I know some people like to look out and for different beers in the local supermarket. This was a chance for me to try a few different ones while I was away. Got any thoughts on any of these? You got any favourites you want to comment on, or any ones from these breweries that I haven't got here that you would recommend? I'd be interested to know. Okay, I'll hand you back. Okay, so that just about wraps things up for this Homebrew Wednesday. The last thing to mention is that tomorrow, that's Thursday the 9th, I shall be going to the Nottingham Robin Hood Beer Festival. I'm really looking forward to that. I won't go into too much detail this time. I hope to bring you a bit of footage maybe, or at least I'll discuss it and a bit more length next week. But there'll be plenty of beers to drink. I'll leave a link to the website for the festival in this Homebrew Wednesday, so you can have a look for yourself anyway. Okay, we'll see you next time. No beer today, by the way, because I'll be catching up with that tomorrow, with all those beers. Cheers, and we'll see you next time. Ta-da!